And we'll hit record with Zoom.
Recording in progress.
All right, right now Zoom is giving me a little bit of a problem. This is our third meeting for our Unity program. I have to manually click between sharing screens. It's not letting me share my overall desktop. So it might take me a second as I'm doing it. I'm starting off in the Unity Hub. I'm going to get started a new project. We're going to work on 2D today. And let's see if I've got we'll use the 2021, that's fine. Let's go with 2D. And I'll say this is my 2D project. Demo week 3. And while that's starting up, I'm going to go over to the Unity Asset Store. So I need to change where I'm sharing. A new share. Let's see. That one. And I'm going over to the Asset Store. Okay, so some things we might want to have. We're going to grab assets we're going to use. You can look up sprites. Sprites are two-dimensional images. It's just basically any picture kind of works. But there's a lot of ones that have pre-custom made ones. If you click on sprite, or type in sprite and hit enter, and we'll say accept cookies. I love that this thing likes to change where the bars are. Sometimes this filter thing is on the right, over here on the right. I hope you can see my screen. Let's see. I'm going to go to price and I'm going to do free assets. Eric, if you can't see it, let me know.
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, good. So I did sprite and I did price free. There's a pile of them. Just a pile of things you can use. I downloaded a bunch. What I'm going to use today is called Brackeys. Where is it? Brackeys 2D Mega Pack. I think it's on the second page. Where is it? Sprite Mega Pack. Let's try that. There we go. Brackeys free 2D Mega Pack. Looks like there's some other fun ones. I might as well add them right now while I'm here. Because they don't automatically import. You have to manually import them. This just adds them to my stuff. I'm also going to look up some audio. We'll look at adding audio to it. And we'll also go with free audio. Foundations of Audio is the one Unity recommended during it. That's the one I've added for now. Brackeys comes with some audio, but they're also worth looking up. We're going to do a little bit of audio here today. Not a lot. I haven't learned how to incorporate, like, when you do the mouse button or actual interaction with the player yet in the 2D sense. So it triggers the sound in the beginning. So those are the kinds of things you want to download: audio and then the sprites. And let's see, I'm going to do a new share. I'll click share sound this time. Oh, it's not. I gotta wait for the thing to create. Show all windows. What is this? Is Unity up? Try resharing. There we go. Okay, so this is my screen. See the white box here? This is the window that you'll be able to see. When you hit play, what's in the white box is what gets shown. If I want to enlarge it, which I think I might, this thing, the rectangle tool, is super duper duper handy in 2 dimensions. Not only can we get a easy resize with it, I think Main does the resizing already without that, but I'm just resizing to make it a little bit bigger. But when we go to add items to it, we can move them like drag and drop if we're on the rectangle coordinate system. So what I'm going to start first with is let's make a box around this. We're going to call this. We'll start off. The objects we use here are called sprites for 2D. So we want a 2D object, a sprite, and walls and floors are in the rectangle square category. So I'm going to go square. And it just makes a really small square there. Z is into the screen. Y is up and down, vertical, and then X is left and right. So XY like our normal 2D graph on paper, and then Z is into the screen. So everything we do in 2D is going to be in the XY scaling. If I want to do a floor, I could make the floor like pretty narrow, and then make the scale or the X scale really long. This doesn't look long enough. Let's maybe make that box a little bit smaller for the main square so that that's about the right size. All right, let me drag this. If I want to move it with this, I can do it stuff like this and slide it that way. But I can't go up and down unless I'm doing one. If I click the rectangle coordinate system and I click on it, I can drag anywhere like this. That's what I was meaning about it being super handy. So I'm going to set that as the floor. I'll make it longer. I don't know what, maybe 150, 130. That's good. And maybe I'll make it a little bit wider. Let's see, 0.4. We'll give it some color, just like we've always been doing with the color sprite renderer. Is now has the color stuff. Let's go with a brownish color. Oh, where is brown? That's kind of brownish. And then we want to give it some physics. We want to be able to give it some collision stuff so that, like, if we drop like a ball on it or something, it bounces. In the 3D model, we didn't really have to add in collision stuff, but in 2D, we got to add it. So I'm going to add a rigid body thing. I'm going to add rigid body 2D. And I'm going to come down here, and if you don't want, if I click, what's going on? It just moved. If I click play now, watch what happens. The bar fell off the screen. You may not be able to see it very well. So I'll replay it real quick. Show that the bar is falling. And we don't want that. The floor shouldn't fall. So let me move it back down to where I had it and show how we address that. For rigid body, we're going to go down into constraints. And we're going to freeze the Y position. That way when it plays, it can't move. You might as well freeze X and Z. That way there's no like physical impact that moves it. We don't want it to move. We also want things to collide with it. So we need to add a collider to it. And that's another component. Let me minimize some of these things so we can see them. We'll look for collision. A box. Box collider. We are using a rectangle, so we're going to use the box collider 2D. And it should be set up with collisions. We can give it a material, make it so it's got like non-bouncy. We don't want it to bounce or anything like that. Wait. Oops, that's not the right thing. I want create 2D physics material 2D. That's what we want to do for 2D physics stuff. And so I'll call this stop. And it gives it, we'll just say friction is 1, bounciness is 0. And I'm going to add that to my square as the physics material. Hopefully that does some help there. Let's see. I want to do this on the floor and ceiling as well. Maybe I will make this something I can drag and drop. So let me delete that one, and then I will drag in that. And then I will drag in another one, and we'll call this ceiling. And by doing it that way, they both have the same properties. And we can make some walls. So we'll make the same thing with another wall. I want it to have similar properties. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to drag nope, that's not what I want to do. Let's do a new one. Create another 2D object, a sprite. And we're doing a square again. This time we want the X thing to be narrow. What did I have the floor at? I had floor at, let's make this like 0.8. There we go. It shows it a little better. This one I'll do 0.8 here. So it's got like the same thickness. I don't know how tall this is. If that's 130 across, maybe I only need 70. That might be too much. 60. 60 is good. And let's give it some color. I do not know how to get this thing to trigger. Come on, there we go. Oh, that's a nice. There we go. And I'll call that a wall. And I will drag that down there, and I'm going to delete this wall. And I'm going to work on this one and start adding the rigid body and box collider here also. So I'm going to add the box collider there. We'll give it the stop motion. And we'll add the rigid body as well. That way things interact with it. And again, we want to do the constraints. We want to lock X, Y, and Z for things that don't move. That'll be my wall, and now I can drag them and place them in. So now I've got a frame on my picture, and nothing's going on in it yet. It has this blue background. I'm going to have to look into later. I know there's a way to change the coloring of the background. But keep that in mind until you change the background color. Blue is a color thing, so if you make things that are blue, they're going to kind of blend in a little bit. Let's see, what else we want to do? Let's make a ball. 2D object, sprite. I'll call it a circle. That's a ball. Let's rename it ball. Let's call it bouncy ball. And again, when I have the movement mouse on it, I can't move it very well. But if I put it on the rectangle thing, I can grab and drop anywhere. This doesn't look like a very big ball based on the size of the box I have, so maybe I'll make it a little bit bigger. X and Y are the only ones I need to do because Z is the in and out, and I don't need to worry about that. So just leave Z alone. We're just doing X and Y. And we need to add some gravity to it, so we're going to add the rigid body 2D. And we need to add a collider. If I don't add a collider, this is what happens. It falls, but it doesn't collide with the floor. So it goes right through the floor. So we need to give it a collider too. Let's change its color real quick. Let's make it like, I don't know, yellow. That looks good. And we're going to add a collider. And we've got circle collider right there. Circle collider 2D. And let's make a new physics for it. We want it to bounce. So I'm going to create a 2D physics material. A 2D physics material. We'll call this bounce. And here I'll give it some bounce. Can it go higher? Yeah, it can. Let's just do 1 for now. Friction, we'll leave it 0.4. And now if we play it, oh, I haven't added that to the ball yet. So I need to add the bouncy material to the ball. And I don't know if I have to add it to the collider or the rigid body. So I'm just going to add it to both until I know a little bit more about this. I know, see how this says is trigger for the collider box? There should be a way that when it collides with something, it triggers something like a sound effect or something like that. I'm sure we need to script it, and I haven't done the scripting for 2D yet on how to do the triggers. So that should get it to work. Let's see if it bounces. Damn, that bounces almost as high as it did before. Is it decreasing? All right, so it's got a lot of bounce to it. Maybe we can add some mass to it, make it a little heavier. That's in the rigid body. Let's make it heavier. Let's see if that does anything. Oh, it definitely did. It decreased the bounce. Okay, so that's worth knowing. Maybe we'll leave it at like 2 for now. And what I'm going to try to do is make one of those games where you have like you drop the ball and we try to get it into some baskets or some shit like that. So let's do that. Let's add some stuff that gets in the way. So I'm going to create another 2D object. It's going to be a sprite. It's going to be ooh. Let's throw a circle in for now. Let's make this size 3 and 3. And I'm going to make it, give it a color. Let's make it something, we know the background's blue, so maybe make it green. circle, and I drag that down here. What the hell happened? There it is. There we go. And now I'm going to delete that circle. And I'm going to get my physics going on here. Because if I do my physics on down here in the asset box, I'm pointing at like you guys can see my hands. If you do the physics in the asset box for something you're going to have a lot of, it makes it so that you don't have to keep doing it. And I'm all about less work. I don't know about you guys, but I am all about less work. So let's give it a collider. We're going to want to make it a circle collider. Oh, I don't know. Why not bounce? Let's give it the bounce. And we want to add the rigid body so that it interacts with things. And we got to remember to freeze the position of stuff. So I'll freeze the position. Maybe I'll add bounce here as well. And now if I put this up here, it won't move. And if I just run it, the yellow ball should hit it and bounce off. So 2 doesn't change the bounce very much. Okay, still got a lot of bounce. Good to know. I'm going to go back to that yellow ball. I'm going to make it a little heavier. Let's go 3.5. Now I'm going to start making like a terrain for it to like block around. That's got a Y value of 10. I'm going to copy this a bunch of times. Oh, Control D does a lot. So this one, let's see, let's make the top circle at -55. And let's move these all right by 5. So the next one would be -50, -45. Ooh, I wonder what double negative does in shit. That doesn't look like it's spaced enough apart. So what was the first one? The first one was 55. So let's make this 45. And let's make this one 35. That might be too far apart, though. That'll work. And we got 25, -15, -5. Oh, this might be perfect. And now all these are positive. 5, 15, 25, 35, 45, and 55. All right, so I got all these lines and dots in a row. I'm going to take these and I'm going to highlight all of them except the top circle. And I'm going to drag them and place them under it so that if I move the top circle, it moves them all. Okay, and then so if I do that, now I can copy or duplicate this one. And let's just lower this by 10. Let's see what happens. That gives me another one down there. And we want to shift it by a little bit. So maybe we'll go 50. And on this one, we'll get rid of the last dot. So I will call this the top row, or I don't know, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There's an even number of circles there. So let's call this the even rows. And let's call these the odd rows. And I think maybe going down 10 was too much. Maybe let's go down like 8. Oop. Going down 8 would be right there. No, maybe that's not enough. Let's go down. Let's do that. 4 looks good. And then I'll start making copies of these. I'll duplicate this one. And I want to move this one down. We moved the last one down. Odd was down 6, so we want to move this one down 12. So put this at -2. So we're going increments of 12. So I'll make this negative, next one -14. And I can make another copy of the odd one. Or duplicate, not copy, duplicate. And we want this one to go down 12 as well, so -8. All right, so now I got like a little area for it to navigate. Let's give it a play, see what happens. All right. So our ball, it's got a field to navigate through. Let's give it some more bounce. I think it needed a little bit more bounce. Let's make it like 5. I don't know what that does. Let's just see how much the 5 affects it. I don't think it changed it. It didn't.
That should be a little crazier.
Should be a little crazier. I hadn't saved it yet. Hopefully not too much crazier. I don't want it to go chaotic. Oh, shit. It did. And in fact, it went off the screen. It went out. It shouldn't have been able to get out. There was colliders on all the boxes. I don't know what happened there. Clearly 5 is too much. 1.5? Oh, and that's got too much energy. It'll never settle down. Let's make it like 1.05.
We can try to reduce the mass of the ball.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Let's take a look at the mass of the ball. If we want it to bounce more,
Like 2?
If we do it at 2, okay. Let's see. It's not really slowing down when it gets to the bottom now. I want it to slow down when it gets to the bottom. So let's give the mass a little bit more. Let's go 1.15. Move its starting position. Okay. Now we got a little like drop thing to get it to navigate through. Let's see about putting it in something. What kind of 2D sprite shapes can we make without going and getting stuff? Hexagon flat. What is a 9 sliced? Weird. Not what I want. I'm looking for like a dish. So maybe let's import the assets. Let's go to Window, Package Manager. And we had that 2D Mega Pack that we just downloaded or put in our Unity store. So I'll go Mega Pack. We'll install that one. And import. I got lots of little example photos. That's fun. Detective skeleton. That sounds. Why would a skeleton be a detective? Interesting. Is he exploring his own death? Who killed him? Maybe. And this is what this asset, because I was doing this earlier, trying to figure out what kind of asset I wanted to use. And I gotta tell you, unless you're doing your own art and you're good at doing digital art, it can be a pain in the ass to find exactly what you're wanting. Because I'm trying to picture something that makes like a little dish, a cup. And when I like looked in the Sprite store, if I did Sprite cup or Sprite dish, something like that, it wasn't giving me what I wanted. I ended up going into Brackeys over here, looking in the 2D Mega Pack. And like there's all sorts of neat stuff in here. We could put in plants. We could, we could turn our thing into a falling strawberry. Ooh, let's make it a pumpkin. We'll look at the pumpkin a little bit. There's different. Ooh, a skull. Let's make it a skull. Gotta remember that. Can I drag that up onto my bouncy ball? I can. The skull's in the center, and the way I put it in terms of bouncy ball, the position is telling me the position from the bouncy ball. So if I say 0, 0, it should position the skull on the ball. Uh, let's make the top layer look transparent. I want the skull to show up, and it's not showing up. Let's see. We'll make that the top layer. We'll make the bouncy ball. Let's add a layer. Layer 3. Below ball, or below skull. The skull should be above it. Why is that not working? How do I make it bigger? The ball is overriding the picture. Oh, there we go.
There.
I
Oh,
could turn off the rendering of the ball. I turn off the rendering of the ball. I leave the skull active. I'm going to put the ball back on because I want the skull to be about the same size as the ball. So I'm going to lower the skull's ratio. Let's try 0.8 and 0.8. That's good. And now I'll hide the ball's effect. And now it should look like a bouncing skull. I got to hit Control Save. I didn't. Oh, did it? Okay. Oh, look at that. That's pretty boss. I like that. All right. So that was completely not where I was going. I was trying to make some dishes. So let's look at some more dishes. Let's see what environment's got. Environment, we got tile pictures. That's not what I want. I don't want a tree. I'm looking at a bunch of icons in the environment section. I know what I'm looking for. Let's go with shapes. I could turn the arrow upside down. That would work. Let's do that. All right, so I got this picture of an arrow. I need to make it bigger. And I want to rotate it around the z-axis by 180 degrees. The z is the axis going in and out, so if we rotate around it, okay, before I start duplicating that, I want to make that, let's see, is it a good size right now? Do I want to make it taller? Let's go with that size. Okay, and then this part was challenging. I did this a little while ago, so I'm going to move it out of the way where I can just zoom in and look at it. Adding the rigid body is fine. We're going to add rigid body. We don't want this thing to bounce. So I'm going to add the stop to my thing. And I don't want it to fall, so I'm going to say it freezes. So I'll lock it in position. And then adding component for the collider. I did the edge collider. Now you might be able to do some other ones, but let's take a look at how the edge one works. If you click the edge collider, see where it says edit collider? I'm going to click edit collider. And now it allows me to change where the collision lines are. And everywhere I want to put like a corner or something like that, I can put a little dot. And I'll put one in the middle and I can grab that one like that. So now you can see it's every time I click this button on the line, it made a new point there. And then when you put your cursor on the square, you can drag it. But if you click and let go, you just click and let go, it makes that extra point. So it takes some practice. Okay, so let's make that red. Let's give this some color. And, ooh, I got my collider still on, so I need to turn the edit collider off. And I'm going to add a stop physics to it. I don't want it to do anything. And now what I'm going to do is, oh, I'm going to make this an asset. I'm going to delete this one. And then I'm going to drag these up here and just start putting them in. Let's see. Let's go with -24. Let's see what that looks like. That looks good. And I'm going to edit the height of these each. God, I'm going to need a lot of them. What if I make them a little wider? So this one's at -24. Do arrow 1 at -24. Let's do all of them at -24. Wait, I gotta move them first. That's not good. They're just not quite long enough. Let's go 25. And I'm just, you gotta take some practice, right? Actually, if I use this arrow, then I already have the Y height marked, and I can just slide them left and right. Work a little bit smarter, not harder, right? Why does this one look different? That's why. They're not all at -24. Okay, and I'll duplicate that one. That's not good. Darn it. Maybe we'll do this. My audio is being crazy. I hope you can still hear me. Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, good. It was just maybe my speaker was having issues. So let's see if that worked the way I intended on it working. fun. So it gets a little harder for it to settle into a dish, doesn't it? We could maybe increase the mass on it. Does that help? That kills the bounce, doesn't it?
I mean, more mass require more balance on it.
Right. So let's see. Let's maybe edit the bounce. I want it to slow down when it gets near the bottom. It's just okay. Well, it's working, right? It's settling into dishes. We can add some audio to it. So maybe I'll just add it to the ball. There's a way, like when you go through the training thing for the Unity certificate, it did the audio in 3D section, but it also, the audio obviously must work in 2D. We can add a component, and I'm just going to type audio, and we'll get audio source. And Bracky's had some audio, didn't it? Sounds. So let's come and see what kind of sound we like. Can you hear that? It only popped for a second.
Yeah, I heard it.
This one's longer, I think. Let's see.
Game over.
Did you hear that?
Man, no.
Yeah, we don't want that. Let's see, a hit maybe. That was lame.
Try landing.
Okay. Where is it? That's super quiet.
No.
Whooshu was quiet too. What's button press? Also quiet. Well, let's add the explosion to it. Or we can look for some other sounds. Is there other... See what other audio possible packages I've downloaded. Ooh, we can give it some background music. Foundations of Audio. That was the one that has that Unity recommended. Let's use that one. Let's see what it's got in it. Importing a complete project will overwrite your current project settings. To leave your project intact, click the Switch Project button to create a temporary... Oh, it's already done it. Is it? Well, you're a pain in the butt. That's not what I really wanted to do. What about like RPG dungeon sounds? What do you got in there? Let's try downloading you. I know we got a lot more sounds to choose from. And notice a lot of them are .wav files. If you grab other sound files and put them in here, you can use them. It definitely takes the WAV file format. I'm sure it takes other formats too. Well, maybe not. Everything it's showing is WAV. I feel like it's doing some of the same things over and over. Like, why is it switching between craft and environment folder and doors and lockers folder so much? Just go through one folder and do all the folders at once. Do it. This is what happens when you try to do two at once. Oh shit. I'm in. What? That one's almost done. That's the problem. I had importing too many things at once. Well, we'll just sit here for a second. Come on. I pissed it off. I told it to do it more than once. Because I only did two of them and I see three of them, so I did one of them twice. What else do we got here? Oh, Juan showed up. Hey, Juan. This is me being a scrub. Ah, fail. It made the whole new, yeah, I didn't want a new Unity project. All right, what do we get? RPG sounds, there we go. Let's see, we got, oh, there's a lot. Any good music? Explosions. All right, so we'll let's add an explosion to it. Audio source, big explosion. And we want it on 2D, which is fine. We'll leave all that alone. If we click on loop, it's going to keep playing, so we'll just leave it as it is. And when we hit play, it'll run the first one. Nice little start to it. So we should be able to set it so that when it collides, it triggers a sound. And I haven't learned how to do that yet. I'm sure Juan knows how to do it, but that'll be for next week, I think. I think we got a good setup for it. If we wanted to make some background music to listen to while we're doing it, we could download one of the music ones. Battle music. Let's see that. Okay. So rather than having the explosion, let's put one of the music songs on there. Let's see what they sound like. Okay, let's see something that has something more in the beginning. That's nice and dramatic. Let's do that one. So I'm going to put that one on there. And I don't know that it needs a loop, but if it goes for longer than a minute, however long that thing goes. Now we got some fun sound effects to it. Notice I can make the background music low, and then when we have it do a collision sound, when we put in those kind of scripting, we make the scripting sound louder. So the background music is kind of quiet. And there we go. That's just a little stuff to learn for the 2D this week. Make sure you're doing if you can. Let's see, new share. Come on, Zoom. I'm going to go to the Unity, learn Unity. Dismiss. Stop. Okay, it says I'm signed in. Go to your. Make sure you're working on your Unity Essentials pathway. Hopefully, you get through the Essentials one this summer. Like if you look at where I'm at, I've gone through resume mission. It doesn't show them all. Did that one. It's just not showing the previous one. Okay. So I completed the 3D one. I completed the audio one. Now this is the 2D one I'm looking at. Oh, that's showing the 3D one. And stuff like that. So make sure you're working on this. I'm almost done. I got them almost done. And hopefully we'll get a certificate by the end of the year. And I will stop sharing. And that'll be it for today. And I will see you guys next week. You got any questions, Eric?
No, I'll try to search it later on because for the first lesson we have, I follow everything. Then just kind of the third person, the player mode, that just give me when I play it, it doesn't show anything. Just
yeah, that
shadow.
one's
That's it.
The first person mode throws me. I don't know how to get the first person mode to work right yet myself. When we're doing the 3D one, I know if you do, or when you do third person camera, do that one, and then you'll show up behind the robot, which is a little bit easier to at least follow for now.
Yeah. I mean, I use the third person one,
Okay.
but the third person just show me nothing with only shadow in there. The whole person is like nothing, disappeared. I only can see the shadow from where I'm going.
Oh,
That's
really?
the problem. I probably need to reinstall, or I'm missing some component on it.
And that's the third person?
Yes. I tried yesterday, but it's kind of crazy. But that's all right. I'll search what happens with it.
Well, one thing you can do, let me share screen again. As soon as it loads. I'm loading my project. I think it's from last week. Hopefully it's from last week.
Last week's lava thing on the ground.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's loading right now. Everything's going all right, Juan. I hope your summer's going good. We're chugging along, learning slowly. Like there's so much stuff in the asset store, it's almost overwhelming. Like you gotta go through and look at everything. That's why it's like if you're good at doing your own artwork, you might just be quicker at making your own. But I'm not an artist. Let's see. Did you? Oh, you did finish loading. There we go. So let me share screen with that one. So that's my Unity Hub one. Let's see. My robot's up there. And you know what? Maybe I can just delete this. Delete the player. Do tools, starter assets, reset third person. Now where's my third person?
Yeah, that's your little person looks like.
Getting him where I want him is the pain in the butt.
I guess the quickest way is find a coordinate and enter it.
Oh! That's not a bad idea. Where's the ball at? Sphere is at 94, 50, and 0. Negative 94, 50, and 0. Oh, negative 940.
Oh.
Okay, let's refocus on him and again. Click on him, hit F. Hit F. There we go. Okay. So now I can get him to walk. And I should be able to move him out of the way to the ball so it doesn't crush him. Oh, the ball did hit him. So maybe deleting them and doing the third person. First person, I don't know yet. Oh, I'm melting. Ah! Yeah, so doing the tools, starter assets, and doing reset third person armature should reset it. It helped for me to delete the stuff. It made it work a lot better. Hopefully that helps.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll see you next week.
I'll find out. Yeah, see you next week, though.
Cool. All right.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.